Hey everyone, so we're going to be talking about the simplified, scalable sales system, the most successful sales system in the home service industry, specifically for the technicians. It's not for the comfort consultants, they can be more advanced. It's not for on the phone, although there's a version like it that we use for the phone too, but it's the I notice most of why. Before I go into it, I think it's really important to tell the backstory of why this is so effective. A lot of people, at the core of this, and this is going to sound weird, it is not the best system in the world. It's the most effective system. And there's a huge difference between the two. A lot of contractors tend to try to build a perfect pitch, meaning like I've got this 5-minute speech for new systems and it's unbelievable. And if they nail it, they do it perfectly, a customer says yes every time. And I got this 3-minute speech for air filtration. And if they do it perfectly, they nail it, they get it every single time. And flipping a plumbing lead and selling an agreement. Like all these unique pitches that are so beautiful, so well thought through, so amazing that they can't not work. But the problem is you're asking technicians to nail these perfect pitches. And they just don't. Not even that, your comfort consultants don't nail the perfect pitches, and that's their whole job, is presenting and making customers feel comfortable, presenting options, and then selling, right? Your technicians think of themselves as fixers. They like to fix things, so you have to simplify the process. By simplifying, I can make it scalable. So those perfect pitches, they're just not a thing. A lot of people push it. A lot of people are really excited about it. But at the end of the day, their technicians never open their mouth. And if they don't open their mouth, they don't get the sale. The key to this is actually, it's very rarely are you trying to fight for them to do it well. It's almost always you're trying to fight for them to do it all. So you have to make something so simple, so repeatable, so scalable, and effective that they can do it every single time in the house and they don't have to think about it. So that's what I notice most of why is. It is a simplified, scalable sales system that your technicians could use on literally every single call to sell accessories and upsells. It's not used for repairs. So if the contactor is bad, you don't use this process. But if the contactor is out of spec and going to go bad, it can be. And certainly if I'm selling an air scrubber or air filtration or a condensate safety switch or a press release valve or a new water heater and their water heater is not broke, then absolutely this is what you do. So I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down pretty quickly because it's important that you understand that this is easy to teach. It's a 3-step sales system. I noticed, most of, and why. I noticed, most of, why. Not real complicated, but it goes like this. I notice is a passive way to bring something up. Technicians don't like selling things, but they don't mind noticing things. It's just an opener that's not salesy or aggressive. Most of, you set social expectation. I'm most people. So you're creating that keeping up with the Joneses effect, and you drop one value point. It's super important that we don't unload our gun here, and we don't skip giving a value point for every single thing. And you'll hear this when I give you real life examples. But I noticed, most of, and then why. Why is just an open-ended question, non-aggressively, where we look for them to give us an objection. And I teach all my team members that first why is an objection no matter what they say, and I have to treat it as an objection. I ask them to tackle that one objection. And if they tackle that one objection, that customer decides to still not do it, they can keep going if they think it's the right thing to do, or if the customer is waffling or whatever it is, but I no longer require it. But I require them to tackle the first objection, and you'll kind of understand why. So I notice most of why. Sounds stupid easy. It's because it is. Let me give you a real life example. Mrs. Jones, I notice your system's over 10 years old. Most of our customers consider replacing when it gets this age just because it saves them so much money in their utility bills. Can I ask why you haven't considered replacing your AC system? I noticed most of why. I notice you have an older water heater. Most of our customers consider replacing when it gets this age just because water heaters don't leak while you're watching. Can I ask why you haven't considered replacing your water heater? I notice you don't have an air filtration system. Most of our customers have air filtration. I don't know if you know this, but the number 1 filter in your home is your AC system. The number 2 filter in your home, your lungs. You could buy a filter or you could be a filter. I'd rather you buy one. Can I ask why you haven't considered air filtration? I notice you don't have a press release valve. I notice you don't have an upgraded thermostat. I notice you don't have a carbon monoxide monitor. I notice you don't have water softener, right? There's so much you can roll into this. Here's the key. If I could teach that framework, I noticed most of why they could drop all accessories into this thing, all upsells into the sales process. And I could get to that 1,000 hours of work. If I'm doing a perfect pitch every time, I'm never going to get the repetitions I need to make it second nature, to make it not thought about, right? To make it in their element, in their thing where they don't have to create in that situation. They just have to just roll off the top of their mind, right? I notice most of why is that system. It's simple, it's scalable. Obviously, we have a one sheet to walk you through this whole thing. It gives a tons of examples too. I think it's helpful. Some people learn obviously by reading. Go through it, understand it, and then teach it. Now the other part about I notice most of why is I'm trying to get them to do it in every call without exception, because there's always something. You can bring up I notice most of whys more than once. You can't do it 20 times. But you can say, I notice you don't have an upgraded thermostat. Most of our customers have upgraded thermostats just because you don't need to cool your house or heat your house when nobody's home. Or maybe you like to sleep cooler late at night. Can I ask why you haven't considered an upgraded thermostat, a programmable thermostat? And then you can go through the call, and then you go up in the attic and you realize that unit doesn't have a condensate safety switch. Or some people call a float switch, or whatever you want to call it, right? And I could go right back to the customer and I say, I notice you don't have a condensate safety switch. Most of our customers have a condensate safety switch because all it does is it shuts off your system before it floods your ceiling. Can I ask why you don't have a condensate safety switch? I notice you don't have a surge protector. Most of our customers have a surge protector. Your $100 TV comes with a surge protector. Your $15,000 AC system, the biggest appliance in your house, doesn't have a surge protector on it. Can I ask why you haven't considered adding a surge protector? Right? And obviously, if you put that system in last year, that causes some issues. I'd rather have those conversations than sell the surge protector, right? So you can do it more than once, and then you gotta arm them with the objections. Understand, when I ask that why question, I am expecting objection. If they say, sounds great, but how much does that cost? Or it sounds expensive, whatever, that's obviously an objection. But less obvious ones are, no one's ever talked to me about. That's still an objection. It's a knowledge objection. I have to tackle that knowledge. Oh, you're gonna love this. Let me go grab some information. I'll bring one. I have one in my truck. Let me walk it in real quick and we'll have a quick conversation about it. So you tackle, those are the two most common. So the two most common are some form of price objection and some form of knowledge objection. No one's ever told me about that before, right? If you teach them to tackle those two, then you're gonna be off to the races. It's fairly simple. There's other ones that come up, but those two are gonna take care of 95 to 99% of the ones you're gonna run into. So teach them those and teach them that I notice most of why and drive it, make it part of your culture. I'll tell you, this is a true story, and this is when you know I notice most of why is really working in the business. So I went out to a company in California, a good friend of mine, and I ran a tech meeting. And I taught them I noticed most of why, and their numbers immediately jumped afterwards. And you have to hammer it. You can't teach it once. It has to be taught over and over and over again until it becomes part of the culture. And I made sure the service manager and the owner was driving it inside that business. And I noticed most of why I was being talked about every single day. I went back to that office maybe 2-3 months later, and I ran another tech meeting. And I was 5 minutes late. That's on me. I shouldn't have. I was distracted. I was talking to the controller. Not the point. I was late to the tech meeting. And when I walked to the tech meeting, the techs stopped the meeting, because this is what they do. And one of the techs goes, I noticed that you were 5 minutes late to the meeting. Most of people who come in and visit us show up on time because it shows respect. Can I ask why you were 5 minutes late to the meeting? And we all laughed about it. I'm like, but at the core of it, I was really happy and proud because they started using the verbiage without me there, and then we're using it to tease me. And the only way they use it to tease me is if it's top of mind. They're using it every day, and it's part of the culture. Play with this, guys. It's a really powerful tool. It's a really simple sales system. Don't build something over the top. Do not try to make this perfect, win every time. What you're trying to do is get them to open their mouth every time. Just open their mouth and you will get sales. I know it's most of why is the way to do it. The most successful, the largest companies in this industry all use this process. A lot of them because of me. But simplifying your sales is super important for a non-salesperson. And technicians, some of them like to think of them as non-sales. Some of them like to think of them as sales. But the core of it, if they're an unbelievable salesperson, they're usually a comfort consultant or a selling tech, right? So simplify, make it real, make it repeatable. I hope that helped, guys. If you have questions, check out the one sheet, and obviously you can reach out to us. We're happy to help. Thanks.